Hello, writers. I'm Lee Jessup, career coach for emerging and professional screenwriters, as well as business of screenwriting professor with the David Lynch grad program for cinematic studies. Recently, writers have talked to me about how to define themselves, right? What stage of early career am I in, forcing me to take a step back and really think about how do I define writers as I talk about the various level of writers. I started thinking about it in truth years ago, because as many of you probably know, for years, representation referred to early career writers as baby writers. And I got a sense very early on that my writers did not love that term. So I started thinking about different ways to define where a writer is in their career at a particular point in time. And with that, I kind of came up with my own way to define it. And I'm sharing this with you just in case it's helpful. I'm sure that there are people that disagree with it. This is how I define it. As I look at writers, first of all, it's important that when you're writing, you're a writer. So you don't have to fight for the moniker of writer or screenwriter. And it's up to you whether you want to take any of this on. But for me, a writer who is just starting out is a writer who's still figuring out whether writing is for them. They probably don't have a first script to their name yet. They're kind of playing with a format to see whether or not it's something they even want to pursue. So to me, that's a writer who is just starting out. An emerging screenwriter, in my mind, is somebody who's completed 1, 2, 3, 5 screenplays, but has started really finding themselves on the page. Then we get into terms like pre-WGA. To me, a pre-WGA writer is a writer that has a fully developed body of work, has a complete arsenal, meaning they have their log line, they have developed pitches, they've really started to think about the work from that professional perspective, and they're building their body of work. They understand what their brand is or their general brand area. From there, we have those repped writers who, for the record, could also be those pre-WGA writers. Some are repped, some are not. Those are writers that have a solid body of work, that have a clear brand, that have gone in the process and the practice of wash, rinse, repeat, write, vet, submit. Could be repped, could be unrepped. But those writers are writers that, like I said, could be pre-WGA, equally could be emerging writers. This is just how I tried to define it in my mind. And then we have those working writers who are actively working in the professional screenwriting space. Of course, we also have independent screenwriters who are working potentially with producers outside of the industry in the independent sector, and that is perfectly fine as well. But see what you get when you start thinking about, I don't like the term baby writers. You start breaking it down to all different levels, and I'm sure there are a few that I'm missing. But in case this helps you identify your career stage where you are in your journey, I thought it might be useful for you. So hopefully this was helpful. As always, subscribe for more, and hopefully we'll connect soon.